Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm here to help with your request today. What can I do for you?
Hi Rachel, I'm calling regarding an order delay.
Hi there. Please share your tracking number. First 5 characters is fine.
My tracking number is AB123.
Thanks for providing the tracking number. I am checking the shipment status now. The tracking code AB123 is currently in transit, and the estimated delivery date is September 25th, 2025. There is a delay noted due to bad weather in Toronto. If you'd like, I can arrange updates sent by text to your phone. Could you confirm your phone number?
No, I don't need an update by phone. It's okay.
No problem. If you have any other questions about this order, I'm happy to help.
No, I'm good. Thanks.
You're welcome. If you need any more help with this order in the future, just let me know.
Okay. Bye.
Having run multiple online stores myself, I know how challenging or sometimes frustrating it can be when you realize that you spent half of your day answering the same questions over and over again. You realize that a simple "what's my order status" can get you clicking through dashboards, digging through spreadsheets just to tell someone their package is in transit. So in this tutorial, I want to make that easy for you, and I want to help save you a lot of time and hours doing this. Hi, my name is Stephanie, and in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to build a conversational AI voice agent with Elevenlabs. And here is how it works, and I'm sure you saw from the demo. But basically, the agent asks your customer for a tracking number, and then it looks it up against a simple database, in this case Google Sheets, and then replies with a clear update, whether it's been delivered, whether it's still in transit, and it gives an ETA if it's still in transit actually. And then it also goes on to talk about any helpful notes that have been logged in the system. Now, having run an online business myself, I know that this is definitely going to save a lot of time, and this is definitely a game changer, especially if you're running, let's say, a Shopify store, a WooCommerce store, an Etsy store, or even an Amazon store, and you want to provide quick human sounding updates without having to hire extra staff. I also find that this is also perfect for small support teams that are looking to cut down on repetitive calls, or even warehouses that just want to give clients a simple phone line for shipment lookups. Or I'd even say that D2C brands during peak seasons, let's say during Black Friday when the queues explode. And finally, I also see this being useful for ops teams who track shipments in Google Sheets before rolling out a full WMS solution, or even a help desk can use this solution today. By the end of this tutorial, you would have a live agent that can handle those "where is my order" calls instantly, while freeing you and your team up to focus on work that really matters. So let's get started. So like I mentioned, this AI voice agent was built using Elevenlabs and n8n. So I'm going to walk you first through how the process works in Elevenlabs, and then I'll bring you over to n8n and show you how I configure that as well. So let's move on to Elevenlabs. So if you don't have an account in Elevenlabs, you'd first need to set up an account, and then they do have a generous free version, so you can try it out first and see if you like it, and then if it works for you, then you can use it. I also do have another tutorial where I used Vapi. So if you find that Elevenlabs does not work for your use case, then you can use Vapi as well. But this tutorial is just going to be focused on using Elevenlabs. Now, the other thing I would like to mention is that when you come into Elevenlabs, there's the creative platform, and in the creative platform, what you do there is you're changing your voice. Like if you're doing any creative projects, then you'd use the creative platform. But for this tutorial where we are building a conversational AI voice agent, what we want to use is a conversational AI platform, right? So when you come in here, you have agents, you have knowledge base, you have tools, you have voices, there's conversations. The conversations really tracks like all the conversations that have happened over a period of time. Then you can also integrate it, like if you have like custom MCP servers, you can do so. And then you can also import your phone numbers, and then you can, like, if you need to make any like batch calls, you can do so here as well. So what we are interested in is building a AI voice agent. So I'm going to come into agents. I already built one, so I'm just going to walk you through that. So what you do is when you come into agent, you basically click on new agent, and then you can select if it's like a business agent or if it's a personal agent, right? And then once you select if it's a business agent, then there are a lot of like industries and use cases that they already have pre-built, right? So you can basically, if it's retail, which is in this case retail, you can just select a retail agent, and then there's a use case in here which you could select. So if you want it for customer support, you want it for outbound sales, you can really decide. For this tutorial, I just focused on customer support. Let me know in the comment section below if you'd want me to try out other use cases as well. So I'm going to come into customer support, and at this point, all you have to do is you need to mention the name you want to give to the agent. If you have a website, you can put it in here so that they can basically leverage things you do on your website to sort of personalize the agent. Maybe on your website, you may have like resources, you may have certain things that can really give you a brand voice you want, right? So having that website in here would help the agents know that, okay, this is Stephanie's brand voice. So whatever conversations that happen, it needs to make sure that it's following like a consistent brand voice. And then you can put in like the main goal. And if you don't want this to be like a voice agent and you just want it to be like a messaging, like a chat agent, then you can just select chat only and then it will just do that for you. So you put in the main goal and then you create agents. But like I mentioned, since I already have like an agent created, I just want to walk you through what I have created. So I'm going to come in here. So this is my admin support agent and I have my phone number in here, and I'll show you how to get your phone number and everything sorted out. So yeah, so this is the agent and you'd want to attach a phone number to your agent. Okay, so let me walk you through how the phone number bit works. So you come to phone numbers. As you can see, I have my phone number in here, but then if you don't have a phone number in here, what you have to do is import a phone number, and you can import a phone number from either Trilio directly or from the SIP information you have. Okay, since I already do have like a Trilio account, I'm going to show you how to get this done in Trilio. So I'm going to come into my Trilio account. Okay, so when you come into your Trilio account, you need to get a phone number, and a Trilio account can give you a free phone number. Especially if you're in the US, then most likely you'd be able to just use the free account. But then if you're outside the US, you're in Canada for instance, then I'd advise that you upgrade your account. So when you come into Trilio, you can upgrade your account, and once you upgrade your account, you get to select where you want the phone number to be based. I'm based in Canada, so I chose a Canadian phone number. Okay, and then in here is where you have your account set information, right? You have your SID. So you copy your SID and then you copy your auth token. You also have your phone number information here. Make sure that when you're setting up your Trilio account, you are giving it SMS capabilities, you're giving it voice calling capabilities as well. So once you have your Trilio phone number and everything set up, you now have to come back to Elevenlabs and then set it up in here. So in this case, you click on import from Trilio, then you can give it like a label, and then maybe in this case, you'd call it the name of the support agent, and then you put a phone number in here, and then you put in the SID. Okay, once that is done, all you have to do is you just have to assign it to an agent. So in this case, I've assigned it to the agent I created in Elevenlabs. So that's good with a phone number bit. Okay, now I'm going to go back into agents, right? So now that we have our phone number assigned to our agent, the next step we want to do is we want to come in here and configure our agent. So what you can do is you can select the agent's language. So in this case, English, but you can also give it additional languages, right? So let's say your agent receives the phone call and then they realize that the person talking on the other end of the phone call is speaking in French. You want to give it the ability to switch to French, right? So you can do so by giving it like additional languages as well. Okay, so that's good. And I've seen this play out a lot in a lot of automated systems. Sometimes you'd call and it would be like, if you want this to be in French, maybe press 1. Okay, so things like that you can configure with your voice agent. Now, moving on. So the first message is basically the introductory message. And from the demo I did, I'm sure that you did see that when the call went through, the agent picked up immediately. It mentioned its name, and then it was like, I'm here to help you with your request today. What can I do for you? Okay, so you can customize this message to suit your own brand voice, to suit your own flow as well. Now, the system prompt is where everything happens, and this part is very important because in here, you want to make sure that you are defining exactly the steps you want the agent to follow. Mind you, this is automated. So if you already have processes, let's say your call center is already following a particular process when customers call in, you want to document everything into the system prompts, right? So as you can see, I have it in here, like the role setup. You're a friendly, efficient retail and support assistant, and your objective is to ask the customer's tracking number and provide a shipment status. And then I've given a few bullet points about the behaviors. I'm like, greet briefly and ask, be sure your tracking number, 5 characters is fine. All these are things that you can customize to suit your own workflow. Okay. And then in here in the LLMs, you can really decide which LLM you want to choose. So whether you want to go with Gemini or ChatGPT 5, like you can really decide what you want. And you'd see like every LLM you decide to choose has its own cost. So you can really decide based on the cost, whether you're looking at cost, you're looking at speed, you can configure all these things as well. Now, in terms of temperature, so really the temperature is a parameter that sort of controls the randomness of the responses generated by the LLM, right? If you wanted to go way random, then you could basically like take it to the end, but you can also be very like conservative and then keep it in the middle. All right. And then you can limit the token usage. And in here, if you want to have any additional knowledge base, let's say I wasn't connecting this to n8n and I was just doing everything in ElevenLabs, then you can add like the knowledge base. So that you saw in the beginning, the spreadsheet that showed up in the demo, you can sort of attach the spreadsheet in here. The reason why I'm moving this to n8n is because I also want to have the ability to add other tools, maybe send emails and text messages and all that. If you don't want to do any of that and you just want to limit the scope to just the phone call, then you can have the database attached there if it's a document. The other advantage n8n also gives you is the fact that if your database is not a spreadsheet, let's say it's a Notion database, then you can also connect it to Notion directly, right, in n8n. So you would want to connect to n8n so that you have like additional functionality. Now, there are tools in here, so you want to give the agent the ability to end the call. I'm not selecting any of these tools. I only have a custom tool, which I'll talk about in a second. So yeah, so we have all these configured. Now we have a custom tool that we've created. So in order to create a custom tool, you can click on add tool and it will bring you to the tools page here. So when you click on the tools page, so you can either add a client tool or you can add a webhook tool. So the difference is that if you're adding a client tool, then you're just staying within the scopes of ElevenLabs. But if you're going to add a webhook tool, then it means that you are expanding to, let's say, an external tool like n8n or like a website or something like that. Okay. So what we want is the webhook tool. So now in the webhook tool is where we add in the name of the tool, which in this case is get shipments by tracking. And then the description is have to describe what this tool does. Okay. When it comes to AI, I'm like, make sure that your input is as great, because if your input is bad, then your output is going to be bad. So describe it as much as you can. And then the method, we are using a post because you're going to be sending information over to n8n. And so you want to put in the webhook URL from n8n. And I'll show you the webhook URL to use in n8n. And then in terms of the headers, you just want to pass like the content type as a header. And then in terms of the description, you can put in basically the description. So you are given a single field, which is a transcript, which is basically the caller's voice. Okay. And then you can extract structured information. You want to understand the intent of the call and all that. So this is a description. And then in terms of the particular parameter you're sending the tracking number. From the demo, you realize that the agent asked for the tracking number, right? So that tracking number is what's going to get passed to the n8n, and whatever happens, it would come back again. And then down here we have the dynamic variable, right? We are not setting any dynamic variables in this tutorial. And one thing I didn't mention as well is the response timeout. Okay, so you realize that in the demo I did, the agent would keep quiet and wait for a bit. It's waiting for the webhook in n8n to finish whatever it has to do and then provide a response back. So you can even customize your agent to sort of like get involved in some small talk while it's waiting for the response to come back. All those things are configurable. You can add all of those things in your prompt. Okay, so I'm just giving it about 77 seconds. My AI agent in n8n sort of like finishes up in 30 seconds or so. I'm just giving it a bit of a buffer. All right, so within this time it would go into n8n, do its thing, provide a response to the agent. Once the AI voice agent in ElevenLabs receives the message, then it gives the response to the customer. So that is it for setting up your AI voice agent in ElevenLabs. I do have an upcoming free session on getting started with AI agents in n8n coming up on September. I'm going to leave the details for that as well in the description box or in the comment section so that you can sign up. But basically in this session, I'm going to teach how to get started with n8n in general, how to configure your APIs. And then after that session, you definitely leave with building your own first AI agent. So if you're interested in joining that session as well, then know that it's free. I'll leave the details in the comment section so that you can sign up as well. I'm going to show you now how to set up the other part of the workflow in n8n. So for that, you need to have an n8n account. And if you don't have an account in n8n, then you can get like a free trial for, I believe, 7 days or so. I'm going to try it out and see if you want to get a cloud version or if you want to self-host it. You can self-host it and it gives you, in my opinion, you get a bit of flexibility as well. Although I'd say that if you want to self-host n8n, you need to be a bit technical, because if you're not technical, then it means that you probably spend a lot of time debugging, doing updates and everything. So if you're not technical, then most likely just go for the paid version of n8n on the cloud and you're good. All right, so now coming back to n8n, so this is the webhook, and from, you remember what I talked about, the webhook URL? This is the webhook URL you'd use in Elevenlabs, okay? So you basically copy this and then you paste this in Elevenlabs. So when you come into Elevenlabs and you come to your webhook tool, this is the URL you're going to paste in here, okay? So once you have your webhook URL configured, and note that this is the test, okay? So if you're in production, then you'd use the production one. And these parts can change. It doesn't have to be this one. And then you want to use respond to webhook node. Okay, now if we come back to the AI agent, so it's going to provide us some information from the call, and in here is going to pass things like the tracking number. The tracking number is what we use in our AI agent. We are basically providing the status for the call. So the tracking number is what we are using in the AI agent, and in the prompt user message, we're just saying like provide the status for this tracking number, and you put in the tracking number in here. And in terms of the system message, this is what I use for the system message. So this part of the template, I'm going to drop this template in the comment section or in the description box so that you can download it. But it's pretty much a simple prompt I have in here. I'm saying that your customer support agent, your job is to look up a shipment in Google Sheets and provide a status clearly. Okay. So I'm providing it this data. I'm giving it the columns to look into. You can be as specific as possible. I know if you even leave it vague, AI can do its thing, but it helps if you're as specific as possible. And then you give the steps on what it needs to do. So take the customer's tracking number, remove any spaces, punctuations, and use the first 5 characters uppercase. And then it's looking at for the tracking number. And then you go on to sort of like give a response. And then yeah, and then you send that response back to like the tool in the AI voice agent in Elevenlabs. All right, in here you can see that I'm attaching a Google Sheets database. It doesn't have to be a Google Sheet database, guys. It can be a Notion database. It could be any database that you use. So again, this Google Sheet in here, which I created and called order shipments, as you can see, it has the tracking number field, it has the order ID field, it has the status field, it has the scheduled delivery dates, and it has a custom comments. So basically the call came through for this and rightfully said this order has been delayed due to bad weather in Toronto. So yeah, you could have additional fields in here. Maybe you can say that once this happens, then you want to give a status, or you can even go on to create a ticket in Slack or in Zendesk, whatever ticket managing platform you use. If you found this tutorial helpful, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like, share, all the good stuff. For now, thank you for watching and see you in the next one.